Whoa, TSM, this is the best beat ever!
Yeah. Girl, what's on your mind? It's gonna be alright with you by my side. Look into my eyes. Been through quite a lot this year. My future may not been clear, but I'm good when I got you here. Ten toes down on the ground, concrete. Rock shotgun, didn't need no heat. Used to ride waves with shit ain't me. Fell right out to the tank on heat. Bluetooth on the set the scene. Highs and lows.
Oh my god.
Search you on some better days. And I wrote this song of a jealousy. All my chances now.
Bro, how is this man Pricey so good at just doing like every style ever? Makes no sense to me. Bro, I need a haircut so bad. Will it focus? What is this, dude? I am dying over here, man. Alright, y'all. So, today, for this video, I wanted to do another vocal tutorial because I did a Travis Scott one a while back. Roll the clip. Today, in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to sound like Travis Scott. Pass me by, I'm in this two-door by myself, yeah. Try to cross me, keep a switchblade on the shelf, yeah. Don't be hating, man, that ain't good for your health, yeah. Sugar Hill, I'm posted up in the motel, yeah. I wanted to do something else like that because I think that mixing vocals and, you know, engineering and all that is just really cool and fun, and it's a great skill to have, especially in music production, because you know, it just opens up a lot more windows if you know how to work with vocals and stuff. So today I wanted to show you guys how to do a Lil Peep vocal effect. There's a lot of tutorials out there on the on YouTube for this, but there's none really for Studio One. So today I wanted to show you how I personally get the Lil Peep vocal effect. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop over to Studio One and I'll show you what I'm doing. So for this, we're gonna be covering Awful Things by Lil Peep. I just took this little instrumental off of YouTube. This is the sound that we're gonna be getting today. Bother me, tell me awful things. You know I love it when you do that. Helps me get through this without you. Bother me, tell me awful things. You know I love it when you do that. Helps me get through this without you. So yeah, obviously that's not a perfect replica because I'm not Gus, but if you it sounds pretty similar. So yeah, let's just go ahead and let's get into the effects that I did. So this one, there's a lot more I put a lot more time and thought into the mixing of this, but basically let's just start with the intro vocal because this is what I kind of built everything around. So this is the first intro vocal. Bother me, tell me awful things. So when I was doing that, here's what it sounds like dry. I'm also going to send everything to the main bus because that'll just help you get an idea for what it sounds like without the actual bus effects. I'll get into the bus effects later. So this is what it sounds like. Bother me, tell me awful things. You know I love it when... Obviously, not that great. So the first thing I did was I added this Pro EQ to get rid of any frequencies I didn't want, especially in the low end. That's the main thing that you need to get really a good recording, especially in this style where it's very high end focused. You do not want any low end. So I put a high pass filter at the bottom. I also cut out around 250-ish hertz or 300 hertz. So yeah, this is what it did to it. Bother me, tell me awful things, you know I love. Just makes it sound a little bit crisper. I also raised some of the high ends too. Next thing I did was just this stock gate. That just made it to where in silent moments, it would not make any noise if there was any background noise or whatever. So that just helped with that really. Next I added auto tune. This is auto pitch. I've used it before in my other tutorial. It's free, so I definitely recommend picking this up. This is what I use for auto tune in general because your boy can't afford the full auto tune. So this is what I do, is use this. I turn the speed and depth down to these settings and set it to the key, which is C sharp minor. This is what it sounds like with it. Bother me, tell me awful things, you know I love it when you do. That helps me get through this without you. So obviously that just makes it kind of sound a little bit better, just the tuning and everything. Alright, so the next thing I added was this C4 from Waves. This just squashes down a little bit more of the unwanted frequencies in the mid and low range. Bother me, tell me awful things, you yeah, that's just, again, just to squash down any unwanted stuff. Next thing I added was this de-esser. I turned the threshold down at about 8500 hertz. Sounds like this. Tell me awful things, you know I love it when you do. That helps me get through this without you. So yeah, it just kind of squashes down the S's and T's and the harsh frequencies. And then what really gave it some volume was, yeah, this RVox mono compressor from Waves. This is the best compressor that you can get, really. This is really, it's super simple, and at the end of the day, this is what I use always to just get vocals to stand out and to be on top of the beat or whatever. So that gave it way more volume. Bother me, tell me awful things, you know. So there was that. Then I added another EQ, cut out more lows and more mids, kind of similar to the beginning. Bother me, tell me awful things, you. And then to kind of get the harshness, I added this VEQ from Waves, and I went to this high mid frequency range and turned it to the 6.8 setting and boosted that by about 2 dB. That just adds a little bit of brightness and a little bit of color to the vocal. Bother me, tell me awful things, you. Now, what's really gonna get the vocal to have the sort of effect it has is you have to have multiple layers, as you see here. You're not gonna be able to get this effect with just one take. So, I mean, for the intro, I added 4 more layers, and you want to pan them. See, I have the first 2 extra backup vocals pan left and right, and then the other ones pan fully left and right, with some doublers that are panned and stuff. Just a lot of effects, this chorus right here, a lot of effects that can give you a wider sound that just sounds like more and more vocals. So now it sounds like this. Tell me awful things, you know I love it when you do. That helps me get through this without you. And when you take those kinds of, that kind of approach to a lot more vocals, see here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 channels for the chorus vocal, it gives you a lot bigger effect. Bother me, tell me awful things, you know I love it when you do. That helps me get through this without you. And that's really what I feel like made Peep stand out, was the way he was able to stack his voice in just so many different ways. That's what really made him stand out. So yeah, then what I did basically was I had that was sort of where I wanted to stop as far as the individual tracks. So then what I did was I highlighted all the tracks and I sent them all to a bus. The bus is right here. This bus channel is really where I started to go in detail about how I was approaching the vocals. So what I did was I cut out some of these mid frequencies right here around 250, 300 hertz where the vocal is just kind of muddy. Then I got a limiter right here, put it on -1 dB limiting, and then just left it. That's all I did really for that, just to make sure there was no clipping and stuff when I turned up the individual tracks. So next thing I added was this de-esser, and it's a stereo de-esser because you're going to have vocals on the left and the right, and you want to still keep that stereo image. You don't want to make it mono or anything. Next, I added another EQ just to cut out some unwanted frequencies in the mids and the highs, and another EQ to cut out some more in the lows. Some people might not think it's necessary to add all of these, but it does definitely help get rid of stuff you don't want. The next thing I added was a Manny Triple D. It's essentially just another kind of EQ, but it's a great plugin. I definitely recommend getting this. If you don't know what this does, here, let me turn off some of these other effects. So this is without the Manny Triple D. And then this is what I did with it. Now, it did squash down the volume a little bit, but basically the thing I love about it is it has a deboxy or whatever, a deharsher and a de-esser built into it. So for example, deboxy, it will just sort of get rid of the boxy sound in most vocals, especially if you're recording in a bedroom setting like I am. Like, the thing about this plugin is you can just listen for it. So like, let's say I'm listening primarily for let's say I'm listening to this vocal track. I'm listening to where the boxiness is. And so I start to kind of hear that it's right there, and I turn this up to squash that boxiness down. And then I'll turn it off, and I do the same thing with harshness. Whereas the vocal kind of getting a little harsher in my ears, and then I'll turn that up and it squashes it down. Same with the de-esser. I crank the harsher way up just to really kind of squash the sound down, but also just make it a little bit just better, well-rounded, especially in the setting where I don't have a professional studio. This is something that really helps with that. Next, I added another RVox to kind of just boost the overall volume of the vocals and level them out a lot more. Bother me, tell me awful things you... Let me turn off the reverbs and stuff. You know I love it when you do, that helps me get through this without you. So I did that. Next thing I added was one more EQ. Obviously, as you can tell, a lot of EQing and a lot of getting rid of frequencies, because when you're recording this kind of style and you're doing all these different vocals, it's easy to have a lot of harshness come through on different takes, and when they stack like that, you got to make sure that you're getting rid of them. So yeah, this is what it sounds like with the EQ again. Bother me. And then finally what I added a compressor, an R compressor, with these settings. I turn that attack down, the gain up a little bit. So yeah, then it sounds like this. You tell me awful things you... And we're just about there, but I wanted some more. Like I said, I took some of the harshness out, but Lil Peep does have a very sort of raw sound to them. So to kind of emphasize that, I added some red light distortion. I set it on the sample 1 preset, but then I turned the mix way down. It's way down here. But that just kind of gave it a little bit more grittiness. So I'll play it without it and then with it.
Bother me, tell me awful things. You know I love it when you do that.
So all of that together just kind of gave it the effect I was going for. And then we stack all the vocals together.
Bother me, tell me awful things.
It really gives you the kind of sound you're going for. But obviously, one of the things about Peep's music is there's a lot of ambience. The vocals are kind of everywhere, and they're spacey and all that. So the next thing, I wanted to get that effect as well. So I went into another bus. I routed all this into another bus, and I put a just PreSonus beat delay on it. I set it on 4th ping pong, and then turn the mix way down, because when it's super high up, I'm telling you this, it just doesn't stop. It's a good preset though when you turn the mix knob way down. That did this to the vocal.
Bother me, tell me awful things. You know I love it when you do that. Helps me get through this without you.
And that's good. That kind of made it sound a little bit more ambient and just kind of floating around the headphones. But obviously, it can't be a completely ambient sound without some reverb. So I added this Manny reverb. This is a great reverb plugin, one of my favorites. I set it to the room and large preset, and then turn the reverb amount down. And I also cut out some of the lows because I didn't want those to be as present in the end. So yeah, this is what it sounds like with the reverb and the delay.
Bother me, tell me awful things. You know I love it when you do that. Helps me get through this without you.
So yeah, that was the final thing I did. I ran it all to the master channel and got the final product. So yeah, once I had all that, I was about done. So just ran it all to the master channel, and it was finished. I'll play the final product at the end of this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you guys check out my channel for more content, and comment down below to let me know what you want to see next. Also, subscribe and like the video. It really helps me out. But yeah, make sure you check out my website. The link is in my description. I will be dropping a loot pack very soon for any producers watching this video. So make sure you sign up for my email list so you can grab that when it comes out. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Bother me, tell me awful things. You know I love it when you do that. Helps me get through this without you.